Hello everybody, welcome to my channel, Diane's Sewing Room, and if you're returning, welcome back. So today I'm going to be sharing a make from my Gertie's book for better sewing. So I've shared this before. I did a flick through and also made the keyhole blouse. If anybody's watched that, you'll remember that. So this blouse is another variation on that pattern. So today we're going to be making the bow tie blouse. I'm going to do that as a sew along, a tutorial, so you can sew along with me if you have that book and you want to join in. I will also share some tips later on for making it more beginner friendly, so stick around for that. I'm going to show you how to modify it in a couple of ways. If there are elements about it that you feel are just a little bit beyond your skills, so I'll tell you about that later on in the video, and also a little about what I'm wearing today. So that will all come later. First of all, I'm going to show you what fabric I'm using. So recently I shared a fabric haul, some gifted fabric that I was given, and I'm going to be using some of that today because I felt it would work really well with the vintage pattern. So it's this one. It's rustling because I've already got my pattern pieces clipped to it. So I'll hold that near but not too close so you can see. So I have shared this one before. And I did say I thought that would work really well with the vintage style. So it's purple with a pink and a little deeper pink flower in it. So it's really delicate. So I think that'll work really well with styling. And I'm not sure of the composition entirely of the fabric. It's quite lightweight. And when I was putting my interfacing pieces on, I did also find it stuck in places but not in others. Now I found on the Megan Nielsen website that I shared last time on her blog, she has got a whole blog post about burn testing fabrics, and somebody mentioned that in one of the comments as well about testing that for wool, but she gives you a guide on how to test for different compositions of all kinds of things. So I'm not going to do it for every fabric I've got, but this one maybe later on, and then I'll pop it in the description below or add it somewhere. I'm going to have a little test and see if I can find out more about this fabric later on today by burn testing it. So I'm going to have another look at that article and I'm going to do that and I'll share my findings with you. So this is what we're making. So this is the book, if you remember, Gertie's book, Gertie's new book for better sewing with all the lovely vintage patterns in. And we're making this one, the bow tie blouse, right here. And as I said, on the back, you have the button detailing again down the back. So I've cut my pieces and I'm going to share those with you now. So you might want to pause if you're going to sew along with me and you want to be sure that you've cut things out correctly. So do that now. And I'm going to show you my pieces. So here look, we have the back piece. So here look, we've got our buttonholes marked for down the back. Don't worry too much about this if you're not sure about buttonholes, because I will explain something about that later in the video. So don't let that put you off if you don't want to be doing worked buttonholes. So here is the back, and you're going to cut two pieces, and this is a straight grain going this way. And you also need to make the markings here for your darts. Then we have the front piece, and this piece is cut on the fold here. And then we have a bust dart just here, so you need to mark that in. And again, the straight grain is going this way, and you also need to mark this marking here on the shoulder. Then we have the bow tie piece cut like this. Now I've folded it, so it did say to cut just one, so you can also fold it on the fold and just cut it like that. It just makes it a little easier, and that's the straight grain. This goes to a point. Now if you don't want to do it as wide as that, just make it a little bit more, a little narrower. Then we have the facings. So this is for your back where your buttonholes go. So you're going to cut two of these and you're going to cut two in interfacing. So this can be either stitch on or iron on interfacing. And the grain goes this way. Make a note of these markings. And then we have this piece here for the bow tie blouse, and this goes round the neck. So we've got the shoulder marking here, and again these little markings, and it's cut on the fold just there. Right, first of all, apply your interfacing, so either iron on or sew on your interfacing. So I had a little bit of trouble with mine, as I said, and I don't usually, I am used to using interfacing, I use it most days of the week. This one did not want to stick on this fabric. Anyway, I've stitched it on, so that's what I've done. And then once we've done that, we're going to make our darts front and back, and also stay stitch around the neckline. So you stay stitch so that it doesn't move around. Sometimes fabric can stretch out, that's why you do this. And usually do it sort of 1.3 centimetres away from the edge. So we're going to do that first of all, and it's within your seams. And then we're going to make our darts. Now, you want to change your machine needle if you haven't done that already. So I'm using a standard needle size 70 today. It's a lightweight fabric. Test it on a piece of fabric if you're not sure. So let's do our stay stitching and make our darts first of all. I'll just stitch around that neckline. Keeps it secure, really. That's what you do that for. And then do it on your back pieces as well, around the neck. Right, now we've done that, you'll have your darts marked on. So mine are marked on with chalk, and this one is the back. So what we're doing here is we're going to a diamond shape. So we've got one at the bottom, one at the top here, and then it comes to this wider point here in the middle. So what I like to do with this kind of dart is start from this middle point and work outwards towards these points. So here we have two markings. If you pinch it together, right sides together, and we're going to work from these 2 points here. So we've got our 2 dots pressed together. You can pin it first if you prefer. Back tack at that centre bit, and you're heading towards this top point here. You want to go gradually to a point, not too suddenly, and just come off at the end and leave your cotton running free. Like this. And then that way you can knot it, push your knot down towards the top of that dart. Push your knot down like that. Cut it off. Then we're going to go back to that centre point. Now I do it like this because it's just easier to run off at a nice point if you start from the widest position here at the middle. So back tack a little, and then we're heading towards our other marking here at the bottom. Run off again and knot that. Now when you've done this, repeat this on the other side. On the front we've got bust darts, so we've got markings at the side here going towards this point here in the middle. So again, we're going to pinch it like this. We're going to work from these markings here towards the centre, coming off at a gradual point and knotting it when we get to here. When you finish your darts, press them down flat. Now you're going to stitch your front to your back at the shoulder seams, and we're using a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance. Now stitch your side seams. When you've done this, you can clip it at the curved part under the arm here, and then finish your side seams, so edge stitch or overlock. Now you're going to hem your sleeves, so you can do this by hand, slip stitching it. This is better on a thicker fabric or if you're using sort of a crepe. But as this is quite lightweight and I had the right colour cotton, I've just double folded and hemmed mine like this, and I'm happy with that. Then you're going to take your collar band and fold it in half lengthways, and we're going to stitch each end of that. So the seam allowance is 1.5, keep it the same here. And then you're going to take your blouse. You're going to find the central point of the neck, so the neck at the front here, and you have 2 notches. You're going to snip down to the seam allowance here, and then you're going to fold back this bit here. So like this bit is going to be folded back and stitched in place. So you can do this by hand so it's invisible. So now apply your interfacing pieces down each side of the back, and you want to trim the corners so that you can poke it out top and bottom like this, because this bit for the buttons overlaps, and then at the bottom it also gives you a nice finish if you've already turned that in, and then where you hem it up will meet it on the inside like this. When you've done that, we're going to take our band, which we have now folded, and we've stitched the edges, and we're going to stitch one side of that around the neck. So pin it first of all, fold it in half and find your centre point, and what you want to do is, when you get to the middle bit where you turned it over like this and you hand stitched it, you're going to skip over that bit, so you're going to leave an opening there. So if you fold that in half first of all and find the central point of that, you can pin round about here, and you'll know that that's exactly the halfway point. So let's pin that on and stitch it in place now. So I'm just sewing on my collar band now, so I've just jumped over the opening here, look. Just here, look, it's still open where a bow tie bit will go through, and I've just back tacked at either side of that, just to reinforce it a little bit. Fold your tie in half lengthways and stitch it to about halfway, leave an opening so that you can push it through. So now you will have stitched your neck on, and you will have your opening at the front. This bit on the inside is stitched by hand, and I've also at this point hemmed the bottom. Now I've done mine again with the machine, but you can do that by hand if you wish. Now make sure you've marked on your buttonholes, and we're going to make those now. I've got a selection of sort of odd ones. They're the same colour, but they're odd designs, and they were out of a pot from The Works in the UK, and I've used these odd ones on my last one, but I did different colours last time. I've just noticed one of them's got a chip in it, so I'm going to have to hunt out another one. Right, so it's finished, and your tie bit here, look, just threads through this opening that you've made. So then, imagine you just tie. Can't see how neat that is. Not very neat. I'll try that again in a second. So, purple buttons down the back. Now I can't see if I fastened that up properly, but these two don't quite meet here, but they don't in the picture either, so I'm pretty certain that's how it's supposed to be. And I like how it goes in, it fits nicely. So I'm back, I've had another go at that. I think that's a bit better. So I hope you enjoyed that today. Let me know how you get on. If you make this blouse, what fabric you used, let me know in the comments below. Also, if you were interested in what I was wearing earlier, that fabric was originally from John Lewis in Sheffield before it closed down, and it's a self-drafted top. I did find that the fabric is really stretchy, so it sort of got bigger after multiple washes. So my shoulders are now sort of here, but I still like it. It's long sleeves, I tend to push them up there, and it comes quite low down on my hips also, and it's a jersey with the little gold stars, and I really do like that top. So that's what that one was. If you're interested in hunting out that fabric, you might have to go on to John Lewis online, see if they still have it in stock. So it's cotton jersey, navy blue with gold stars, that one was. Right, what I mentioned earlier was if you want to make this a little easier for a beginner. So I had thought people might be put off by doing the buttonholes down the back if you've not done buttons before and you find these a little bit daunting. So I thought you could just make the back as the instructions up to making the buttonholes, so you've still got the back facings, but what you could do is you could use pop studs on the underside and just have it as a clean back, or you could then stitch the buttons over the top on the right side, so it's just mock. So you'd have your buttons as a feature, but you wouldn't have to make the buttonholes then. So that's one way of doing it, and use snap studs underneath. Also, for this part around the neck, this tie here, because it just threads through, I thought you could change that up, so you could use velvet, Or you could use a satin ribbon sometimes and you could change the colour. So that's another idea. So just a few thoughts for you. So please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment. And I look forward to hearing from you. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. Bye.